two supports combine weaknesses early in the game. Because the way I see it is they got the initiation, they got the follow-up, they get the damage, they got the ability to actually kind of scale and progress throughout the game with farming it up. What's the true weakness? Is there any weakness of opening a draft with Crystal Maiden and Kunkka?
I think it's more the idea that heroes like Ricky, which Ehome just banned, or some really all preferential, but they are being harassed a lot in lane and aren't able to play, somewhat, not necessarily passive, but able to get a few pulls off, get their early levels, get to 3, then I think that's a really hard game for them. So taking out the Ricky, a good step, I think, for Ehome here. And more often than not, picking 2 supports does for a lot of lineups is it kind of drills you into a specific way of play. But because of these 2 heroes, and
versatile.
Yeah, they can do so much that normally you would look at 2 supports and say, you know what Alliance did the other day, they picked Dazzle Rubik. All of a sudden it's like, whoa, you just first picked Dazzle Rubik. Your supports pretty much are pigeonholed into only one type of Dota, whereas Crystal Maiden and Kunkka don't really suffer from that.
Yeah, the Dazzle Rubik pretty much static laning, the lack of ganks.
Yep.
These 2 could play the lane, they could play the gank, but they need a couple of levels, which Ehome seems to actually kind of solve very well. The way they lane these 2 supports, they don't go for a tri-lane, whether offensive or defensive. I've seen 2-1-2 these. In fact, the Kunkka is going to start most likely in the mid lane, sometimes with the EP, sometimes with the Storm, just kind of hang out there, get some levels. Crystal Maiden starting in the safe lane. Sometimes we see making a transition into the jungle to kind of jungle the 1 or 2 level that you mentioned that she needs, and then they just take off.
Yeah.
So, whatever core VG Gaming does pick up, they will have about 1 or 2 minutes of kind of unmolested farm. But after that, the Crystal Maidens come here.
Yeah, definitely true. But I think at the same time, the opening of VG Gaming Reborn is much more solid. That's great against Crystal Maiden. The only thing that has that really hefty is the ultimate. Every just like dark path it off in a way. So Dark's spot is a bit of a different story. You can obviously pack the torrent itself, but you will be pulled back no matter what. So I'm looking to Ehome right now maybe to get a bit more of a wombo combo to go with that, just to ensure they have a lot of ways to deal with the Slark in general. Or they could go back for something, like we saw in game 1, where they go for a Storm. I think Storm is really solid. They want to be able to get their hands on an upside this game because they've picked both of their supports. But I think that it's just very conducive to their style of play. As soon as they know they have a bit of an advantage, they're just going.
Yep.
We saw last game, they were contesting the jungle at like 8 minutes to the game and killing these stacks of creeps. Now, could be attributed to just heavy outdraft, but at the same time, I think that's what Ehome like to do. They really like to control the game from the earliest possible point and never let go.
Yeah, you said it really well. Ehome is at the best when they're playing a small advantage. They're so good at kind of changing that small advantage into a bigger one and a bigger one and a bigger one. You mentioned that Kunkka is really good against Slark with the X. I've add to that. I think, even if you're under Shadow, Bow and Torrent are still effective disables at going against the Slark. So I'm really much in love with the Crystal Maiden Kunkka combo. These 2 are both of my favorite support heroes. And seeing them being so effective in the pro games are just an eye-opener. Now, we do see Juggernaut being picked up as a 3rd in the Chinese scene as well as in the C scene. This could be a mid. This could be a safe. We'll kind of have to wait and see how the draft develops. In the safe lane, though, the Crystal Maiden Juggernaut has been a kind of a time-tested combo here. And even for a hero like he's going to have a surviving that. It looks like I see a pick here for a support.
Interesting bring up the Dark Seed because, again, Kunkka, it's not that good. You can't utilize Surge at all. If you get by, you're going to eat Torrent, pretty much guaranteed. You're going to get a Frostbite and Spun. So, the other question, I suppose, is how much Ehome went to the top lane? Is the CM just going to go AFK jungle? Because right now, Vici don't necessarily anything. They were always playing second fiddle and moving around the map whenever Ehome come knocking. And this time around, they had to take Ehome out of their comfort zone.
You know, something that we talked about between CM and Kuka is that they do need that first couple of levels. They need that 1 or 2 minutes to take some farm.
Yep.
You know, after that 1 or 2 minutes, it's not the first night. It's not too far off. Do you think that's where maybe Vici will decide to make a stand with the Iron Shell with the first night of the Night Stalker?
They definitely can. Okay. The heroes are inherently very tanky, so you have high base armor on both assets here, and you're 3, maybe 4 minutes if you get a pull off or something like your lane, and you get a couple of voids on hero, you're just dead. Even
Maiden in particular, yeah.
Yeah, double Ion is terrifying playing against this particular dual off combo. Now, of course, the Juggernaut's not really going to care much. He's not really going to be the one who's getting pressured. It's more just pressure the lane by virtue of pressuring the supports.
Sure. And
the supports being, under leveled, not having any way of taking the fight, could be enough to lanes in the VG Gaming Reborn's favor. Still got 2 more picks. Still probably looking at mid. I don't think the Juggernaut's going to win this game. I think they want to pick a Mikasa hero in the next 2. And we're looking at off lane. So whatever old 11s to be playing here. I've been seeing Clockwork from time to time. I used to hate it because I thought the hero was very easy to abuse. Mm-hmm. But in this particular game, Clockwork actually does a lot against heroes that they have. It's really good against Darkseer. Okay, they're just gonna tie.
Yeah, I'm not so because Clockwork pounce out, and Darkseer the call your team sometimes with the vacuum.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes.
So, I mean, Ty's the true intested. So,
well, he's more the stable. That's more what it is. Clockwork much for bullet now, because if you don't have a game on clock, you can't come back. Like the hero has no recovery whatsoever. You fall off the face of the earth. So, Fighter is the much safer choice. Offers a lot of team fight. See the DK coming in here from VG Gaming. They know that Mikasa's like coming out here as they themselves take out this, and it's gonna be a bristle back. So is it Chug mid still?
Yeah, your guess is.
I suppose they can adapt to VG pick for their last.
I think Jug is better versus Darkseer in the safe lane in terms of having the kill power and having the sustain with you. But I could easily see them bopping. The one thing I want to point about the 3-quarter Ehome is that they're very self-sustained. So it allows your Crystal Maiden to kind of walk around a lot. And they will be walking around a lot.
Oh. Last pass.
Bring it back, boys. Bring it back.
The Shadow Fiend. Honestly, I kind of like the
Hold on.
Hear me.
Okay.
If you have a dual off lane, Night Stalker, Darkseer, and Fenrir moving around the map, your Juggernaut his lane. Absolutely not. So I think they're banking on the idea they get away with a hero who can siege relatively early. Shadow Fiend's great at hitting towers. Dragonlance is also good on him. So you get like the early durability, you can siege, you have this really high pressure off lane. And the supports, I think, are going to be hard-pressed on Ehome to find a lot of room to work here. Because you're either sacrificing Ice Ice Ice, or you're potentially sacrificing Mikasa, because Bristleback versus Shadow Fiend is absolutely no question about that.
If there's no gank.
If there's no ganks, of course.
But judging from the fact that, and this is me being the devil's advocate here, judging from the fact that you have Crystal Maiden and Kunkka, 2 very, very good roamers, wouldn't you expect the Bristleback kind of just walk all over this Shadow Fiend with a gank or 2?
With a gank, absolutely he will die. But it's the trade-off. It's saying the Shadow Fiend probably has better recovery rate than any hero in this game by virtue of Flash Farm. If DDC gets a couple of stacks, and even if Mikasa is struggling in the middle lane, then I think it's still fine. But if Ice 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 is getting far behind, Jug is not really known as a Flash Farmer. He kind of only starts to really come into his own and wave clear once he gets Battle Fury done.
Okay.
So I think if he's held down too much in the early game against what VG.R have, I think Juggernaut can feel a little bit anemic in this game. So it just depends. Whatever course of action VG.R decide to take, if they want to put the Night Stalker in the offlane, or if they want to just Iron Talon jungle him, which seems like could be the case right now. Honestly, I actually just completely disagree with jungling, FY. I think if they put him in the jungle, Mikasa's going to get bodied mid. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay. One thing I do want to point out is that this is not the first time we've seen the Shadow Fiend from VG.R. Mikasa has been kind of running it, and running the show with it, actually. Very, very good Shadow Fiend player. There was a couple of questionable builds, at least item build wise, that he's went for. I haven't seen him actually go with the Dragonlance. He's still been favoring the SMY, which I guess if when we do get there and when he does pick it up, you can actually delve a little bit into it. You are the Shadow Fiend player between the two of us.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But I'm gonna keep my eye out here on the Ehome supports. In terms of the early game rotation, because we talked about it a lot in the draft, but within the context of this game, especially for the Shadow Fiend ganks mid, the Ehome supports are the ones that we should be looking for, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you only have a solo disruptor DDC support, more or less. I mean, sure, if FY is hanging around, maybe their idea is that, you know, he Iron Talon jungles. If Mikasa's getting ganked, he just runs towards mid and tries to stop them, I guess. You know, similar to what Lanham was doing in the previous match for the Storm, just by sitting behind the middle lane, you have this idle pressure where, you know, VG didn't want to go. But this time around, it's going to be Mikasa who is going to be the one. Actually, no, it was him suffering last time too, now that I think about it. But
well,
we'll see.
Let's move away from the mid lane here as we are looking at some of the other lane stage. Tell me how the matchup here will go on the bottom. Slark versus the TIE Hunter.
Well, Ty's not really going to suffer too much in the early levels. You do kind of have to be concerned if you get whittled down too much, but you can see how much regen Old 11's brought to this lane. Like, he's got a full set of tangos and he's got a salve. So he understands that as long as he's above, like, you know, half HP, there's no realistic way that VG.REBORN are going to score a kill on this Tide.
I mean, traditionally, TIE is actually very good against melee. Would you make an argument that TIE actually could kind of body him?
He wins the lane. There's no question. Like, he wins the lane because they don't have enough damage in the first couple of levels to really kill him. And the other part of it is, like I said, as long as he's staying at high health, there's just no way.
No. Mikasa is bowling a little chicken a little bit here on the mid lane, but he already has his bot, so he should be looking pretty good. Top lane, though, we have Darkseer giving away the first blood. We did talk about how Juggernaut plus Chris Maiden is a very strong lane. Mid lane, though, we do see a Torrent coming in, the body blocker coming out as well. Mikasa dropping relatively low. He pops a magic stick, but one more spray should do it. Pops a fairy fire, so needs one more. Oh, chicken will turn back, but like we talked about, these ganks are definitely putting the lane here in favor of Ehome.
Yeah, I still disagree with FY going straight to the jungle. I mean, I know it's hard to justify doing a dual offlane when you know you want the Darkseer to get some levels, but at the same time, if you put enough pressure on that lane and, you know, maybe Yang doesn't die in the first couple of waves, and even just going back to kill the large camp, I think is fine, as we're going to see a bit of a kinetic field here. TDC dropping quite low. But Lannon's movement so far is applying way too much pressure. Like, VG.REBORN needs some kind of reaction, and because of the fact that FY started with this particular build, you know, what's he going to do? He doesn't have any regen. He's got no health. They're going to have to rely on, like, this first night phase being amazing. Otherwise, his jungle is not worth it at all.
Yeah. It ain't looking good, at least right now. Top lane, checking out farm here. We do have 15 and 5 here on Juggernaut. And Darkseer is getting some, but he's also dying, so that is a legitimate concern. We do see a little bit of divergence here with Finrar's build. He's been getting 0-1-2 for the majority of his Crystal Maiden play, but against Darkseer, I guess ranking up the Frostbite makes a little bit more sense there. Keeps him a little bit more locked down on the Surge. We do see Mikasa almost getting pressured into a Torrent. And honestly, he doesn't really need to hit the Torrent, right? Because even if he's not hitting Torrent, look at the position of Mikasa. He's just so damn scared.
Yeah, he's not really getting much in the way of CS. But again, he can recover. If there's any semblance of jungle stacking going on, he could probably get something out of it. But at top lane, just seeing some pushing here from Ehome, and Yang super scared, only level 3. I guess he's close to 4 now, and he does have an Iron Talon. The only unfortunate thing is Ehome actually warded his large camp, so he's not going to be able to freely just go back and stack that, or, you know, even get any experience or gold from it. So Ehome, again, just with a really solid plan here in the early game. I mean, their Tide Hunter in the offlane is getting more than the mid Shadow Fiend. That's not a good sign.
Yeah. On that note, I feel pretty dumb selecting Shadow Fiend would have the highest net worth by 10 minutes. Because, you know, I feel like, oh, maybe VG.REBORN will protect him. But now it's, in fact, him having quite a low net worth as he is being pressured left and right. Speaking of pressure, it looks like Yang might be under a little bit of siege here. Top lane, we are seeing Isaac coming in position. That Torrent needs to be good. He runs out and into Crystal Maiden, and he'll be dead.
Yeah, he mega did. That's 4 heroes from Ehome making a rotation behind a tier 1 offlane at 4 minutes into the game.
It's not a lot of cost though, because Old Chicken was...
They're gonna get Old 11 though.
Okay, pretty good trade there for VG considering the state of the game.
You know, we were talking about the first night phase and how important it is for FY to have some kind of involvement in this game, and he has gotten 1 kill so far for his team. Killing Old Chicken's going to be a bit of a tall order, but you know, even just killing the offlaner once or twice, or maybe taking out a support and pressuring the safe lane can be a nice thing for them at this point.
Yeah, as we see this game play out, I'm actually understanding and liking the mid Bristleback so much more. Just, it doesn't matter that his supports are not there. Like, even though it's a Night Stalker at nighttime, I don't think Bristleback's gonna die. Unless he drops really low before that gank comes.
Yeah, he needs to eat some raises if he wants to be dying in this middle lane. But, you know, Mikasa's starting to make a recovery here. He's got level 6. He's got a regen rune, which is actually so helpful when you're behind a Shadow Fiend.
I mean, you get like, what, 3 or 4 extra raises depending when you pop that rune, so...
Yeah, it's actually insanely good.
Well, actually,
Chicken
making a go. You know, Old Chicken will die here. He's runs backward, looking for the raise. He will hit the raise. Crystal Maiden runs forward, and looks like we are going to see a very early X here being picked up. I say early because generally Lanham doesn't skill X until he's like level 8 or something. So adjustments are made. Unfortunately, would not save the Bristleback for that engagement.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to why Old Chicken was playing that so aggressively. Like he was just walking in. He's like, whatever, you got a Night Stalker and a Shadow Fiend, magical burst damage, I don't care. I'm a Bristleback, doesn't even have a stick.
Yeah.
That was a pretty questionable play, honestly.
Maybe, you know, just a little bit of that Bristleback syndrome, like, I won't die.
Yeah.
It like,
actually,
oh shoot.
That is actually a thing.
Yeah. We know, we Dota players. Oh, 11. Oh, the courier behind the tower, not like this.
He's dead.
No, not.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
never mind, that was perfect world lag. I saw an auto attack coming out after the courier was already at 50 health and thought it was going to get hit again, but nah, it was actually just perfect world.
Yep. Well, let's see if the gank here from Ehome will be a lot more successful. So far, I mean, I've been hyping up these dual roaming supports. Haven't really got too much done here. DDC comes around here, sees the big old TIE Hunter. Crystal Maiden coming in as well. Can we get a Nova? Nope, we don't have Nova just yet, but DDC looks like he will go down regardless. But here comes a Night Stalker. He was picked for this, for that counter pressure play, and they are getting the counter pressure play. In fact, when the 2 Ehome support comes in the roam, they get them both dead.
Yeah, I mean, Ehome are trying to go really hard here, just knowing Old 11 doesn't have... Okay, he's dead. He's dead, right? Has to be.
Yeah. Mikasa just holding them raises. Oh!
Wow. He actually got that denied because of the Satyr. Alrighty then.
Calculated.
Well, I mean, that makes it a little bit better, I suppose. But I'm still not really sold on Ehome's early game. I guess Ice got the tower while they were kind of skirmishing there in the bottom lane, but they're going into these fights without everything that they need. Like, not having Ravage and diving a tower like that is reckless, especially when you know the Night Stalker's out on the map. I mean, FY, we talked about him jungling. I personally didn't like it that much, but he's managed to make it work. He's level 6 now. He's almost got his urn.
I would say that he made it work more so off of Ehome's mistakes than...
They were diving.
Yeah.
Like, super deep.
So, I guess kind of Ehome's handed it on a silver platter. Ice is looking to get some kills, but he does have to back off.
Now, still Ehome with the advantage in terms of the overall farm, in terms of net worth and whatnot, but...
You know, what about the scenario that you painted, right, with the Shadow Fiend pick? The early game siege. Judging at how the rate of this game's going, especially with the Bristleback pick, do you see that still happening for VG.R, and how successful do you think that siege will be?
I think they do have to kind of pressure towers a bit.
They being VG.R.
Yeah, I don't think you can really play this lineup and not try to force the pace of the game. Of course, you can always fall back on something like Slark. I think it's a good matchup against Bristle and Jug. But the problem is with not getting towers early is you let Ehome fall into their comfort zone where they get like 2 heroes with vanguards, and then they just start hitting your buildings, and it's like, how do we kill anyone?
We do have a little chase situation here. FY is gonna barely run outside that torrent range, and that should be it. Didn't have to pop darkness for that. And meanwhile, Ice is gonna continue to siege. The first Ravage has been really held on here by
He used them already.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. That's why they didn't have it bottom, because when they were diving, he had
I see your point. He does have it back now.
Yeah. So, I guess VG.R just looking to pressure lanes a bit here, going towards mid. They got the Shadow Fiend siege going on.
Come on, cost like it's power lasted, so you'll be the highest net worth your team. My prediction. Though.
Highest net worth by 10 minutes.
Yeah, man. Ice was safe. Why didn't I pick bottom? We are this dive here. Raptor is available. He's gonna pop it at the end. Okay, catch and on slash will come through. A lot of ultimates be used, but get the last
so
hit here. Yeah,
so
definitely. And they get a tower off of it.
We're gonna have the double Vanguard here coming out from Ehome. I'm expecting to see a lot more seeding. I'm gonna go for Roshan at extremely low risk because their hero is so tanky stage. And VG.R don't necessarily have like amazing team fight. I suppose it got a little bit better now that DDC finally hit 6.
Talk me through this Vanguard juggernaut. It's becoming more and more of a thing. I see a lot of NA teams get. To me, it feels very risky because you're putting yourself in a situation where if you don't get objectives off your Vanguard, then you're gonna just fall behind. Nice glimpse here. Ooh, okay. This is gonna fin it off.
I don't know. I think he would have actually rather been glimpsed it. They could have killed Roach.
Well, they're looking to defend the tower, so
I'll see what old chicken with the Vanguard as well. The Vanguard boys. I mean, truthfully, when it comes to Vanguard Juggernaut, the way I see it is it kind of solves a couple of issues he has during the early game against lineups that have heavy right click. So you imagine Shadow Fiends, Slark, Night Stalker, Surgery, like if it's nighttime, he can deal a fair amount. All you have is phase boots and keep battle. The dying during a Blade Fury.
Sure.
Vanguard, it makes so your spin isn't necessarily a death sentence towards heroes that deal high. It's good for seed, and it just makes you not burstable anymore. When at this the game, most of your damage comes from spin on the anyway.
Okay, rephrase that question. Should you choose to join fights or not?
Oh, absolutely with Vanguard.
Well, no, that's the thing. You should be choosing to join fights. Because if you do join fight Vanguard, if not, it's right? So
I would say so.
In this case, does Ice if he hasn't Vanguard, there's an option to say, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna just farm.
No, I think they want to. I think their lineup is around the idea of get early momentum. They're gonna lure tide here in the once
Well, let's see if they're gonna get return kill. No, broke under the tower and they swung around. They're still looking for this kill. They scammed the Shadow Fiend, misses him. He says, "Okay, let's keep on farming." Kind of a awkward nighttime. A little bit weird here. Otherwise, swing around. Oh, we see Darkseer port. The Darkseer, does he have a big item? No, he doesn't have that mech finished yet. Tower's gonna go down regardless. VG.R get them out high on their bottom line. They will lose the tier 1 now.
I think tier 1 is more valuable than. I think you will want to open up the map and gain access to the VG.R's jungle, take Roshan there. That's just going. Like everything you need is kind of already in place to take the next like after this game. Slark to Midas? He's crazy. He's actually crazy. I mean, I can kind of understand where he's coming because this game of Slark, there's not one particular item that's just gonna like set you for fights. You kind of need at least 2 or maybe even 3. So by getting the Midas, he just kind of reaches that critical mass faster, and if Ehome make any mistakes, it's going to be amplified by the idea that he's just getting more out of the map during a downtime. But it's still inherently a risk because you're buying.
Yeah. Well, I think a part of it too is that he sees getting Vanguard. He sees there's a time on the side. You know, Ehome to a certain degree is going to group up and push.
Yeah.
And getting an item like a Blink Dagger or a Shadow Blade is not going to be that effective this stage of the game. And those are also risky items, right? You get a Blink, or sorry, the Shadow Blade, you're expecting to get some kills. Or you're not going to scale. So, that might definitely lose scale, but the game goes a little bit long, which I'm not sure if you watch. So.
It's not hard to say. Definitely like amazing high ground speed, but it's definitely worth it to Vanguard melee group. So
yeah.
The very least should be able to get tier 2s without real issue. I think VG.R though, they're cruising for around the pit. This is
Do get the Roshan off of it. Here comes Ice Sides. They do X1 off, they bolt, and Mikasa, no, just runs over the torrent, so a little bit of mistime here by Lanham.
He had a haster, to be fair.
Well, I mean, if he timed that right, haster or not, he should got it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit harder to hit perfect horn, whatnot. They hear moving at some movement speed. But Ehome losing his support for Roche, I think they'll take that.
Yeah.
I'd actually went for a deck. This is a very all-in from Old 11. It's kind of weird though, because you could imagine if your
Mech would be better.
Yeah, I really think that mech is much better for Siege. Because if VGR have this really scary fight setup that you need to counter-initiate on, I think it's just because they want to run at VGR very badly. And just be like, okay, grab into like an Omni or something, and we just walk at White Hill buildings.
Right. Yeah, they're not expecting, or from their ideal world, they're not expecting a slow siege. It's more like, we're gonna run and you get kills and then push tower. And the blink would be much more helpful in that regard. Ehome smoked up here looking for somebody. They will run into a Slark top, but let's see if Slark's gonna stay around here too long. Be already too long here. We do see Kunkka coming around with the level 2x. Immediate jump here to the low ground, and N will get himself out of there.
Yeah, it's a nice move coming in from the Slark. And he's still like very high in the net worth as well. He's slightly below the Juggernaut, so it's not as if he's getting out farmed or anything like that. And plus, he's 4. He's got the majority of his team's kills.
Mikasa's gonna get himself a free kill. No, I thought he was gonna pop himself, but I guess this one is pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, there's no way Fenrir can get away from that. Considered, I'd say Vici are doing a pretty good job of maintaining in the early / mid game here. It's only 16 minutes in.
I wouldn't say they're maintaining. They're actually like starting to make.
They're making headway.
Yeah, they're making headway. Right. There's a 2K net worth lead for Ehome, but still well within here for VGR to do much better as they are looking to siege. Mikasa pop that Shadow Blade and he would look for a kill or two. But heroes are well behind the towers. They say that Ice in the front line. He'll spin. He'll run away. Vanguard helping him there. Actually, is he gonna get glimpsed? That's the question. He's actually into the trees here. Mikasa got his ult off. Glimpse back on the Crystal Maiden. H is gonna get up. And the Radiant Heroes aren't even in a terrible position. They kind of wait to there.
This.
Well, can they though? Ice. Aegis already. Gravity's gonna come out here. That Link Fair help. Chase on Mikasa. Can they actually get protection? 3-man Storm gonna get on the background here. No chickens on the chase. Looking for Yang. Keep using his soaring there. Will go down for sure. Meanwhile on the back line, still hanging around, going on 0-11. 0-11 is gonna go down. Landham slow to join in. There's a glimpse. Can't fight Fury. They want FY. They will get FY. Right now, it's a 2 for 2. If you count the H kill, and that will be it. So, okay, I suppose for VGR, they didn't lose any major core.
I think it was a little bit disappointing actually. Ehome
yeah,
get more out of that. Ice is just trading some right click here. But the biggest issue I think they had is not having any detection on the Tidehunter. So like he blinked in, he had a 3-man Ravage, and Ice went in for the Omni Slash on Mikasa, but he popped Shadow Blade and there was no follow-up.
Right.
Like it was just, he got away. If they kill the SF there, it's well worth it. But because they only got the Darkseer and the Night Stalker, it's kind of like, it's mediocre. You used a very low cooldown, ultimate, and you got a support and an offlane. Yeah, I don't think that's ideal if you're Ehome.
Unfortunately for Ehome, the sentries were on Crystal Maiden, who got glimpsed back at the beginning of the fight. So they were pretty much committed at that point. So despite having no detection, they kind of just continued to fight. Alright, Andy, I got a question for you. If you take me to in the late game, talk to me about the scaling of these teams, especially factoring high ground siege, because I mean Ehome's high ground siege is pretty questionable.
I mean the Bristle the front line, you know, you finish up fight, you buy a heart or whatever and an AC, and you just the tower. It's still difficult for VGR to go on him. So I would say in regards to high ground, the teams are about even, because the other alternative on VGR's side is just have a Shadow Fiend that can hit the tower and maybe slot. But in scaling, I think that VGR are better. Because Night Stalker offers more control over the map. Once you have it, you know, you pick a Megadon, it's going to be great. And the Slark is just a good matchup in general. Oh my.
I don't think that was ever going to connect.
Oh my.
Top lane, you have the kill here against Mr. Kunkka. Immediate glimpse back. Thank you for the tower. I'm not sure if that glimpse back was actually good, because they could kill the tower and probably killed him too. But
super tanky though.
Yeah, okay, maybe not. The Quals Bo3 would have done work.
Yeah. I don't know. I think GS team actually scales very well.
I agree.
It's not that you don't scale. It's that they they kind of only have a singular game plan. So let's take a team fight, let's push. We got these really key mid-game fighting heroes like Bristleback and Juggernaut, and we got some nice AoE with the ties. It's a very straightforward line, which is fine. But it does mean that VG.R have more avenues to win the game. Like, they win by getting the Slark and the Shadow Fiend farmed. They can win by controlling the map and having the Night Stalker with Aghanim's just asphyxiate Ehome, and they would never be able to start an ideal engagement because they only have one initiator, and you're never going to get a good initiation if FY is running around the map with full vision. So they just have, I would say, an easier way transitioning into the mid game.
It's just FY too, the Slark will add to the vision game by removing the vision from as well. Once the Night Stalker has Aghanim's, you know, that becomes also a moot point. Because all your vision be gone. Are we maybe sleeping on the fact that there is a Kuka running around and he will be scaled? He's got the armlet already.
Yeah, he's going for a, I guess, a better scaling build than what I would expect given the game. But I guess that's because Ehome haven't really accomplished as much as maybe they want to. But he did do this before as well.
Yes, he did. So I'm just wondering, you know, we've been mostly kind of factoring the Bristleback and the Juggernaut as the scaling, but Kuka ain't too shabby too, especially if he opens his build with an armlet.
No, I think he's great in the late game. You know, the Tidebreak was buffed as well, so it's like 85 damage now instead of 70. It's not a huge thing, but every little bit helps.
Right.
Yeah, I think Kuka is, especially during the late game, you get the boat buff on your team, it can be insanely good.
Sure. We're gonna see a wrap around here coming in from VG.R. Blink grab, it's gonna catch people out. They're gonna focus on FY. Very tanky on the front line. It's gonna be good. But here coming in on the front line, Ice need to drop his ult soon. Oh, Chicken does get the boat buff. He's still in there. Meanwhile, Ice is really in there. Looking for the Omni Slash. He's gonna jump on two hero. Mikasa's dead. No one's gonna drop just yet. Maybe he actually did. Yeah, running away on the. He's X'd up into the Torn. Yang's getting focused. Yang's gonna be dead relatively soon. And it seems it's gonna be an Ehome victory. And is gonna try to jump around. He gets X again. Torn's gonna channel Torn. No, nice actually disjoint here. By and Torn actually though. Or sorry, the Slash is so much more. They're looking for yet another nighttime. No, he comes back in. Gets a nice kill. Very nice dump Yang as well as End.
This could be two half. I mean, End's got Blink Dagger in 3.
Well, that's gonna DP out. That will be the end of that, and that should be it.
Alright, so they're not gonna get any more cleanup, but that fight pretty much went badly because they dumped everything into a Bristleback. Like, if they go on anyone else and they get the thing, I'd say VG.R probably stomped that engagement. But they went on a Hood Vanguard Bristleback who also got a boat buff from last time. That is far and away the worst target. And I kind of understand why they did. You know, they caught him out. He was out of position. It felt like a decent engagement for them, but you can't cite of what you actually need to do. Most of it is just locked out on like a singular hero. Juggernaut is a much easier target. You know, anyone is pretty much an easier target for Bristleback. Even Old 11 who has mech. You know, if you take him down, maybe there's no Ravage that comes out during the engagement. But the fact of the matter is,
let me be the devil's advocate here, okay? Team. There's a Bristleback phase. As you see, Ice will spin away from this gank. And honestly, your team doesn't really have the mobility item to kind of run around the Bristleback. I mean, maybe the Slark could do it with the Blink Dagger. You know, the rest of your team, if Bristleback's your face, he's in your face. There's not much you could do about it.
Yeah. No, I agree. You have to do something. You can just let him sit there and hit you. But I guess that's more attributed to the fact that Ehome.
I mean, he's got the jump, right? So
yeah.
that may be a bad fight.
Radiant?
Oh, that's thought. We're gonna see a fight coming out. The boat's gonna come out immediately. Land him. Well, you look for a red fight. They're gonna start with Lanham. What's gonna come out here, but unfortunately they don't get any kill despite jumping on Lanham. They're gonna glimpse one back. It's gonna be Ice, and this time he did not get the spin off. Ice is gonna get blown up. That's the way to start the fight. And I will believe they will get away with a clean kill. Who's going Radiant?
Oh, they want more. Bristleback.
Okay. Not sure if they can actually dive into this tower like this. Whoa, that bitch is huge! Torrent's gonna come out, no ball to follow this up, they're gonna focus on Mikasa. No for you, End's gonna go in. Everybody's relatively low, it's gonna focus on the left. Vacuum's gonna be good, that gets the last on the kill. Old Chicken, he's on the front line, kind of dissecting both teams here, but End does not care. He goes in for the Crystal Maiden, and they do get 4 kills. And I think that's the fight that you are looking for, Andy. Ignore the Bristleback and kill everybody else.
Yeah, that was actually... It looked for a second with a counter Ravage that Ehome might be able to do. something, but Lanham's boat, I think, was either still on, or had not had enough mana. No, he definitely did, because he had 17 stick charges, but...
it was on cooldown.
Yeah, the boat being on cooldown for the secondary engagement. Of course, they were fighting a man down. Ice was already dead.
Actually, the bolt, the rum buff was wearing down as well, so...
Right.
That's where the initial damage that it took was finally taking in. You know, you were questioning the Bristleback Radiance choice, but after seeing how Team Fight progressed, it makes a ton of sense, right? Because they were not focusing it. And Old Chicken says you need to be the thing.
Well, I do think that that engagement, while being very good, you know, VG.R needed to go right back push. They need to fight like, now.
Right. And it's not bad for them. There's no Ravage. Oh, jumping in.
Hit that ward. Hit that ward. Okay, he's just trying to bait him out.
Oh, they're going to go right in back. Wall on top here. Oh, again, run to the middle, but it looks like the Roshan's going to go to the ice side. And it's really low. Up flash actually goes to both illusions. Mikasa jumps in by himself. Unfortunately, his team is backing out. FY hanging around. He's going to come around, focusing on Lamb on the backside here. I don't know if he wants to actually focus on on the front end. It's going to be Chicken just running around with this raid, doing a ton of work. Looks like we do have the Yang running away. Ice on the back line. Let's pick off FY. It's a really chaotic fight. And I do believe long drawn out chaotic fight does favor the Bristleback if he's just right clicking.
I think that honestly, ends going in that if he just hits healing maybe and then pops BKB and then ults a little bit later, he could have even potentially tested the Age itself, like go for a snipe, because he has a Keel in his inventory and Magic Wand. So if he drops one of those items, you know, drop your stick, pick up the grenades, maybe they can actually turn that. Because again, they were Ravage. Ravage still isn't even up. Something like 2 seconds.
Right.
And middle lane, Old Chicken is just living full back life, I guess.
Yeah. Not even piping his hood. Because mechanically down, you know.
Doesn't even care, dude.
Yeah. Even he's chasing the other way. They got the X on him. That's huge. Torrent. Boat's gonna fly maybe. No, they think Torrent's good. And that'll be it. They don't get the kill, but they're pushing now.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer for VG.R because they take such a convincing team fight, and they're not able to follow it up. You know, they still lose the objective to Ehome, and then Ehome down middle lane with the use of the Aegis on Ice, and they take the tier 2. So now they've kind of completely, well, they haven't totally lost momentum, but that's a huge blow. Like, not getting a Roshan after doing such a strong team fight. Now VG.R are kind of in this position where their Shadow Fiend has like he's got 1 item at 20 seconds, alright?
Yeah, he's been dying every fight.
This is not a Shadow Fiend progression that you should be happy with. Like, as a Shadow Fiend player, I'm looking at this and like, dear God, this is such a not great Shadow Fiend game. And it's not because Casa necessarily played bad in lane. I would actually argue that he played very well, given how pressured he was. But there's just no one who can help him the team. There's no one doing stacks.
FY could help them in the lane. FY chose to. For a strategic decision, they chose to get himself further
They were diving like between tier 1 and tier 2 bottom. I don't mind the fact that FY was going down there to try to help. He did get counter kills.
Fair enough. I mean, let's be fair, the one item that he does have a very high impact, right? The Silver Edge sets up ult, as well as being able to break the Bristleback.
He needs BKB so badly.
I don't disagree, but I'm just saying, when life gives you limits.
Yeah, when life gives you limits, you say screw the limits and you buy a BKB.
Alright. Oh, N is actually gonna try to defend the base as much as he can. I do hear an X-Bow coming out here again. FY out the base by himself, gets blown up. I'm not sure if he wanted to be there. He does go down, focusing on Old Chicken, but I don't know. Oh, Ravage hit pretty much on everybody except Mikasa. They're gonna kill him, DD. He's dead. Alright, pretty big goal here from Mikasa. Turn things around, and he's gonna jump in as well. And this could be the dive that...
He's got spin when he gets up.
He will need to use it.
Oh, his team is failing. They are not helping. Oh, and he got bashed during the spin. Okay, he's dead. Well, that was another over-aggressive move here from Ehome. I mean, honestly, as soon as they popped that CM ulti and they got like the 1 kill when the Ravage went up, they just bailed. That fight is such a huge success for them because Ice walk away with an Aegis. They can do a slow siege. They still have their Bristleback alive.
I mean, it looks bad with the buyback on the Slug. Which I'm not sure.
That's the only downside. But
maybe Ehome didn't count it on the fact that he had buyback. So.
Yeah, maybe. But still say it's worth it for VG.R to defend that, because you know your Slark is going to be scaling better. So even with the buyback debuff, it's having to spend the money on defending the racks. You didn't even really take damage on, or too much damage on tier 3. I suppose it's kind of low, but it's more about the idea. Their base is alive. They're not having to worry about like constantly pushing in. Just knocking at their door and saying, you have to address this before you go to Roshan. That's a huge help.
Well, Andy, as the Shadow Fiend player here, I got bad news for you.
He's not getting a BKB anytime soon.
Yeah. And also, I'm going to ask you, who do you think is going to get his item faster? The Shadow Fiend BKB or the Tide Refresher?
Alright, let's check here. The Refresher is definitely coming for this.
So, we already knew that he needs BKB because he's having trouble. Now he's dealing with 2 Ravages. Yeah, ain't looking great.
I just kind of feel bad for him because, you know, he makes Silver Edge, obviously, for the Bristleback and the Tidehunter. Those are 2 really good targets. Even at Jug, it's not too bad because you half his damage and you take away his ability to crit.
Is it half?
Oh,
no,
wait.
That's 40%.
Where did his items come from? Why did I see him having items on the Courier? Is endgame, like, bugged?
Well, no, he just want to fight, so I think he bought most of it.
Yeah, but it said he had, like, 1,300 gold, and I didn't see any of his other items. The Mithril Hammer and the Ogre Club weren't showing for me. I don't know, maybe it's just Perfect World being bad against that.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, the BKB is great. This is extremely helpful because that means he can get his Requiem off and not have to just get obliterated by a Ravage or, you know, CM ulti, Torrent Boat, whatever. The DD rune. This is a huge power spike for VG.R. Like, Shadow Fiend is pretty much fully functional now in teamfights.
Yeah. I mean, just the single BKB really cuts off a majority of Ehome's damage output.
Yeah.
Pretty much you're only looking at slash and the right clicks from Brewback. I'm just done in Dota 2.
I lagged out. I don't know what's happening right now. I have like 1 frame every 30 seconds.
Oh, it was pretty good for 30 minutes, but I guess China strikes again. If it gets bad, we will reconnect. Fret not.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to reconnect, see if it gets any better.
Okay. And we are getting to the stage where you said the important factor of FY Night Stalker is in play.
Yeah, that is huge actually, Ichi. Because it just allows you to take fights on your own terms. You never have to take an engagement that you don't want. With the vision advantage, you have DDC on the Disruptor who can cause a lot of problems. You glimpse one hero out of position, all of a sudden Ehome are either forced to commit to that fight or they have to back off, let the hero die, and lose map control. It's just a very strong combination in general. So the fact that VG.R have made it this far into the game, they haven't lost a set of rounds, it's still looking alright. And to be honest, in terms of overall net worth, you know, they're not looking too shabby. It's pretty much just the support Disruptor that's suffering.
Now, is the advantage of having that combination somewhat more limited when you know Ehome is right outside your base, just sieging?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that going to be coming soon, you think, for Ehome? Like, they're not looking to sit back and push. I imagine they want to finish the game relatively soon.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. But it's more the idea that if Ehome are doing what they're doing right now, which is kind of just like split farming, and VG.R have this Night Stalker, it makes it very hard to get all the lanes pushed out anyway. And plus you have Darkseer, Slark can push out the lane, Shadow Fiend can push out the lane. And with BKB on a full of cores, it's not as if you have an easy pick anymore. Like, Ehome's team is very, very dependent on magic and lockdown.
Sure.
And with BKBs being out, you know, Ice Ice Ice, he went for a body build, which I think is actually fine. But he hasn't gone for like the pure damage, I'm gonna kill you in an Ice Slash build, or he hasn't gone mad to the Weasel, which I think is probably not necessarily better, but it's very good for isolating heroes. And he doesn't have a Blink Dagger either, so it's not like he has a positioning item.
Now, one thing that's for sure is that it will definitely help the Iron Scepter on Night Stalker for this next Roshan fight, which might actually just decide the game. You know, I see Ehome getting an Aegis on one of their cores and just kind of rolling this game if the fights go well. And the Ags would definitely give them the vision advantage there.
I would say either team can like win a team fight and just destroy the base super fast.
Okay.
But in games like this where it's more of a stalemate and both teams are just trying to, you know, poke and prod at each other and see who's going to get the better engagement, you always have to favor the team with the Night Stalker.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Like,
I mean, right now if we check on Radiant Vision, they got one more up. Dire just have one right next to the Roshan, and UGD War one as well.
Oh man, they don't have Darkness. This is actually really bad timing.
Uh-oh.
I think VG.R wanted to use the other Darkness that Y popped to try to get some kind of control and maybe force Ehome back at base. But they're completely out of position for this Roshan. I think this is a stake here from VG. Oh, and they have Tide Refresher at the same time. This is going to be hard. This is going to be super hard. Let's check Slark's buyback status. He not have it for a minute, but he will have enough money when that minute is up.
I mean, even if he buybacks here to defend his base, well, I guess it depends on when they buy back and whether they've lost the racks or not, but we'll talk about it later if the buybacks do come out. What is Ehome's next play? Do they just go down the mid lane and say, you know what, here comes the push, or push out multiple lanes, that kind of thing?
I think I want to end the game. Like, if I were in their shoes, I would feel very uncomfortable letting the game go late against Slark, against Night Stalker, against Shadow Fiend. And I mean, Slark even went all out and just decided to buy a Scotty, so he actually doesn't have buyback. If that item is spotted and Ehome decided to go for a push, one death on that hero could just mean GG.
Yeah. Granted, he's
quite super tanky.
Quite difficult to kill and lock down. You know, X is not going to be the reliable tool that they come to love. BKB will ignore pretty much of that. But what is their answer to O Chicken just walking up and hitting, or Ice walking up to hitting? Just punch him with a Shadow Fiend, I guess?
Yeah, you just hit him with the range hero. That's pretty much all they can do. I mean, Ice has gone for a very kind of hybrid tanky slash kind of damage build with the Scotty.
But not really.
But not really.
Yeah.
I think it's more just about him wanting to live through the initiation.
What Crucifix Hood?
Good question. Did he have cheese or something? Oh, they're giving him it.
But dropping the hood?
I actually think plate mail might be more valuable against the Shadow Fiend than a hood right now. So realistically, the only person who's going to be hitting him when they're seeing is the SF.
No, I do hear X going up somewhere. Maybe they're trying to bait out the BKB. Mr. would not fall for it. But meanwhile, on the back, I hear 5-man whack ball. It's gonna go on to Cook, but second Ravage ultimate. Second Ravage to come out right on now. It will. And that's the second Ravage. Mikasa's gonna get. Oh no. Does he? That's a question. Keep in mind that End does not, and he is jumping out, getting some of that regen. After the end of that Carnage, we do have both Bristleback and Ice still alive to hit the racks here, and it's dropping really fast. Buyback's gonna come out. It's gonna be another good factor, setting things up. And keep in mind that Mikasa, he's losing about half his soul. Finra's gonna drop his ultimate, kite things out. Mikasa, he dies here. It's gonna be a dieback. They switch him back out. They're chasing it deep for this kill. Meanwhile, Ice, objective gaming, focusing on the melee racks. The creeps are helping out as well. And now, well, okay, I'm not sure if that's. Well, they got it racks, but
the racks, it makes it worth it. But I mean, they didn't have to commit the gems.
They did totally do not.
That was just a case of over-eagerness coming in from Ehome. They're gonna lose. Fenrir is gonna be able to get out.
Lemmer TP.
But yeah, I'm not really sure why they went that hard.
Who did? The Radiant or the Dire?
Like Ehome just sent 2 heroes into tier 4 to try to kill the Shadow Fiend. Here's the thing: if the Shadow Fiend is that low, he's not gonna defend anymore. He's at like 10% health.
I think they saw the play of, look, if we killed Shadow Fiend, we straight up win the game.
Yeah, of course. He bought back, but as soon as he gets surged, he's not gonna die.
Well, you know what? Maybe they thought he did.
He's not gonna
He got
die.
Radiance and like five stacks. Look, I agree with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I know. You'd like to do that. You intentionally trigger me with weird logic in front of thousands of people for your own amusement.
I feel that
It's a thing.
Look, Ehome must have agreed with me.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying they don't, but I'm still saying that was not the play.
All right, I agree with you. But sometimes,
because think about this, like Mikasa, sure, he doesn't have buyback, but if he's at 10% health, by the time he heals up again, the Rax is already dead.
Dude, I know. That's me yelling at my teammates, just hit the damn building.
Alright, well, Blink Dagger now picked up here by Lanham, so he's got some better initiation potential, but the counter push from VG.R coming in. They're just trying to, I guess, kind of stop Ehome from getting out on the map too quickly. They did just lose a Rax and spend buyback on their Shadow Fiends. Probably not the way they want to defend, but unfortunately that's how it had to be. I suppose you're looking into Slark now and just saying, alright, you need to do some heavy ass lifting in this game, because it is 40 minutes in.
And he has been. You know, he's the first one in really for his team to kind of disrupt the team fight. We did see like the TIE Hunter, for example, really got into an awkward position just holding to his Ravages for a while in that team fight.
Yep.
But he still dropped 2 good ones at the end. Now, I think earlier when I asked you about the state of this game, the second Ravage, we need the pressure.
Like,
is that 2 minutes? He's not popping the refresher, so he's gonna wait the 50 seconds and just go for it again.
It's worth waiting for another Ravage, I think. But they don't even really have to worry about the ultimate being up, because just by taking that one successful fight, VG.R have already retreated all the way back into their base. And Ehome have put up an aggressive ward inside of the jungle. They already had one there prior to that, which is going to be fading kind of soon. But I think for them, it's more about just waiting out the next Rosh, knowing you'll have double Ravage for that Roshan. Potentially getting Mikasa here, but looks like they're not going to have the detection necessary to actually pick him off. Oh no, he has a gem on the bristle. Nice clips. Okay. So yeah, this is just a positioning game now. Ehome are going to just continually apply pressure, take the jungle away from VG.R, and make it so that when Roshan's up, they can just go.
No.
Oh, FY. Oh, FY. Alright, he did. That's no buyback.
That gem being dropped as well.
That is like a really bad hero to die before the fight.
Oh, FY generally the very stable player for the team makes pretty a critical mistake here, and that's going to invite Ehome into the base. We do see the right click coming out here from Mikasa. Pops the early BKB, and Ty says, dude, I'll wait it out. I'm going to come in right after. He jukes away here from the Requiem, and we're going to see these Ravages coming out real soon.
And he's got through them.
Alright, we're back here. Ravage number... No man, okay, there you go. Ravage... Catch 4 man Ravage twice in a row. Mikasa trying to run, nope. There's a Yang, 50 left, and he's going to run home, but... the damage has already been done. Ice is dead throughout all of this, but I do believe Ehome... No, actually, back in the wall here. Pretty good, and it's still back in the fight. And actually, are they going to hold after 2 Ravages, despite the fact that Shadow King's dead? Yes, they are. They get High Hunter coming in, and 11 is going to just run the other way. Somehow, some way, explain it to me. How did actually VG.R hold this?
Because Old 11 screwed up real bad. He hit the Ravages, but the problem is he waited too long to Ravage the second time.
And Ice died before that?
The Ice died because of it. His Ravage was too delayed. If he just did 2 Ravages, like, even overlapped them a little bit, Ice would have lived, and his healing ward was up in like a few seconds. So if he lives, they walk away, they get the healing ward up, they probably stomp that fight, because Ice would be alive, and not only that, but higher HP. But now, they're forcing buybacks. You know, Ehome potentially losing a tier 3 tower, or at the very least, having to spend money they don't want to have to spend. And Old 11, like those Ravages, you gotta hit him better than that. Like, sure, you hit a good amount of heroes, but if the Slark kills your Juggernaut because you just didn't Ravage fast enough, then that's definitely on you.
Yeah, the game could be turning as well. N is in the Roshan pit, giving a good go here at the old man, and maybe the Aegis on the Shadow Fiend will help things out, but it seems like Shadow Fiend is way too far away. He is walking there, perhaps even using his Silver Edge and doing so. But never mind that, it seems like VG maybe not doing enough damage altogether. Torrent's gonna scout things out. They can even throw the bow if they want, but really don't want to give away that big teamfight AoE ultimate. Bristleback could be running in straight up as well, but he's really respecting the fact that he needs his team. DP here, Roshan down to about a quarter HP, really need to commit. They scouted out with the HP. Mikasa's back into the fight. This is gonna be close. Nobody jumping in just yet. Old Chicken running about in. No, they're gonna give away the Aegis to Mikasa. That's really the target they want to put it on. And I think that will be it for the fight here. Keep in mind that VG.R is working with Glimpse as well as Night Vision. They will find one, and 11 gets found with the Static Storm as well. So no Ravages in this fight.
I just got buyback. And Ravage is up in about 10, so that they'll have 1, but they won't have the second.
Creep waves are pushing in top as well, so they got it back.
Yeah, no, actually I think they go for it. They don't care about huts. They need to deal damage right now.
Okay. At least force out the buyback.
Yeah, at the very least force a tight buyback.
So suddenly what went from almost a guaranteed victory to Ehome. After
that
one
Ravage,
big dive, yeah, maybe a misplay on the Ravage. Now we're seeing buybacks being forced out left and right, and here we go. We can see a back. No wall to follow this up. They're gonna just blow up Finra immediately. The boat's gonna come out, and it's I'm not sure whether it's hitting or not. And we do have Ice spinning around, dropping his Omni. No buyback was forced out, and a quick retreat here from VG. They still stay despite the buyback.
They have Aegis, so they really want to try to make use of this. Unfortunately, the longer they wait, it's going to be a double Ravage.
Yeah, they glimpse one back, and now focusing defensive field's going to come out here, and here comes O-Check and BKB used immediately. 11 being patient with the Ravage, but are they engaging into this? Okay, back, wall, okay. 11 in there, he needs to drop his Ravage. Second one not being dropped, he's already died back. This could be just it. Ice gets bashed up here in Ehome on the rope. Remember, they are Well, they're up one game, but this could be changing here. As VG gonna look to kick the racks. How many buybacks are left here?
I don't think there's what?
Kai's out of it.
There's no buybacks on Ehome at all.
No, FY.
Oh, sorry, Jark has buyback. ISO has buyback.
Okay, but he doesn't want to run in by himself to throw away.
Yeah, he can.
Alive. Yeah.
He definitely can. However, the heroes are so tanky, like between the
back.
corners.
Okay, Storm's gonna be on 2 team, and these plays are so big from Yang. He's just really carrying the team in the team fight here. Finra trying to run, drops low before dying, and actually brings the FY pretty low. Meanwhile, ISS spinning in, and the Raxus are falling quite fast. Bristleback can't really come in by himself as well. Vici will claim the first Rax for them, and they will retreat merrily. No, they will not retreat. They want more. They just want to win the game now. 26 seconds here till the tie here. Remember, he died back. Lanham's just dead as well. He does not have buyback either.
I'm actually going to watch the replay during the break and see how close that Ravage was to
the one on the bot rack, yeah?
That honestly, like, it seems like such a small thing, but if they hit that, they would have probably just won the game right then and there.
GG?
GG. It's all tied up.
Oh my god. Ehome could have had a clean 2-0-3, but just one misplay.
Yep.
Maybe with the dive on the mid tower as well. Was Bristleback chased in for the Shadow King kill?
Yeah, that was actually a really bad misplay too. I think that Ehome should have won this game, but you know, stuff happens. You make a bad judgment call, and teams are so experienced nowadays. Like VG.REBORN have been playing great throughout the entire qualifiers, and they have